a lot of people that are diagnosed with GERD also most likely will be diagnosed with osteoporosis because those nutrients aren't being able to be properly obtained because the stomach acid is going up too much, digestion is not happening, and it leads to low calcium, iron, B12, magnesium. And so
Mm.
brittle bones, the bone density is not able to be really fulfilled because the nutrient density is not there. So that glutamine at 2,000, the others are, you're going to see 5,000 and 6,000.
Yeah.
A lot of times what we found is that can lead to a lot of flatulence and bloating and just uncomfortableness at that big of a dose. So somebody can take this twice a day if necessary. I haven't needed to take this twice a day, but that glutamine is really like, think about it, intestinal fuel, an amino acid, intestinal fuel.
Welcome everybody to the Healthy Habit Podcast. We're talking with Stacy Faulkner today in episode number 42. We're back, folks, with the National Educator for Emerald Labs. Stacy provides insight and understanding to those seeking information regarding better health through proper supplementation and self-care. And Stacy's back for our monthly check-in today with Emerald Labs. She's been with, she's been in the natural health industry since 2000. So we're going on 23 years of just inputting data, working with people, educating the public. Stacy, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Dehan. Good to see you again, our monthly visit.
Good to see you too. And we're talking Emerald Labs today. Before we went on today, we were talking about the Reflux Health product. We literally use this clinically here at Healthy Habit Medical Center because of its clinical, it's very specific with the extractions and the milligrams it has and doses. So let's talk about the Reflux Health product to kick things off here today.
Yeah, so let's, in general, let's just talk about gut health, right? Overall, we can tie in some leaky gut powder, we can tie in digestive enzymes, we can talk about reflux health.
Yes.
Specifically, when you're talking about, you were just referring this to one of your patients. This guy is an amazing product in my mind because it personally has benefited me. There's only 3 ingredients. If we're talking about the indicators of use for this would be, for the reflux health, would be anybody that would be suffering from acronym GERD, so gastroesophageal reflux disorder, right? So that would be for somebody that's after they eat, belching, burping, acid reflux, the stomach acid coming up instead of staying down, and getting the nutrients out of the food that we eat is really the purpose of that stomach acid, right?
Yeah.
The nutrients need to be sent to the organs and the brain and everybody where it needs to go, the bones, all of that. So a lot of people are suffering from this, and the reason is, in my mind, overeating, over drinking. The triggers would be something like spicy food, tomato sauce, pizza sauce, citrus fruits, caffeine. Trying to think off the top of my head. There's a lot of things, and most people are like, "Oh, that's everything great," but these are just triggers. And so if you're overdoing it,
sorry to interrupt. So triggers for reflux.
Yeah, for acid reflux. And so that's exactly what we're talking about. And so when that stomach acid is coming up instead of staying down, we have an issue with the lower esophageal sphincter that's loosening either due to lifestyle choices. It could be hereditary. It could be longevity that just starts to loosen over time. And that little sphincter is in charge of keeping stomach acid down and wants to stay, it needs to stay tight and shut, right? Because the stomach acid needs to do its own thing. But additionally, Dehan, it's what we're seeing is so much acid reflux going on, the gastroesophageal reflux disorders. It also could, it's like vomiting. Once you lie flat, if you're not fully digesting, it's kind of like in a little cesspool, or you're like in a puddle of mud, right? And so it's just kind of comes up, especially if that sphincter is loosened. So I'm fascinated with this product because the bottom line in my mind with this product is to avoid people going on proton pump inhibitors or H2 blockers. You know, so that would be what Prilosec, Pepcid, omeprazole, or famotidine. So that's the generic name for it. But what's happening is we're starting to get a lot of the acid coming up from the stomach gets past the lower esophageal sphincter, and then all of a sudden it starts to trigger along the whole esophageal wall. And so you want to avoid scarring. So inflammation can be done by with, you can look at it with the endoscopy, right?
Right.
And you can get the results done. You want to avoid like a hiatal hernia. So scarring is what you want to prevent, because then you can never really go back to any of those triggers, because then you're looking at possible surgery, right? So this Reflux Health is amazing. It's mucosave, what you talked about earlier. It's deglycerized licorice, and it's aloe vera extract. So those two, deglycerized licorice and aloe vera extract, healing and soothing, healing and soothing.
Hmm.
Okay, mucosal kind of activity. The mucosave is a patented ingredient in here, and it's comprised of olive leaf extract and prickly pear cactus pad. Think about that. Um, those two together create a mucoadhesive. So what we're looking at is coating a protective barrier along the on the upper GI tract. And
Hmm.
so acid, protective barrier, try to prevent it from going all the way up to the esophageal wall and past the lower esophageal sphincter. So it's just 3 ingredients. And the proton pump inhibitors, what we want to prevent is seriously, because in overall, people in America tend to take more than what they're supposed to. More is better. And with these proton pump inhibitors and the H2 blockers, we really don't want to be on them longer than 2 weeks for one, or a month or 2 months for another. And people are taking them with every meal, 3, 4 times a day. I call them little tic tacs. And know that that's a huge epidemic when you're looking at a Costco, and the end cap at the Costco is as big as, 1,000 square feet,
Mhm.
and a Prilosec and Pepsi.
Yeah.
So it's an issue. And so this would be something for people to really look into as an alternative.
Interesting.
Also, if you ever want to Google melatonin and acid reflux, melatonin, I like to use a 3 milligram time release melatonin. You can also use the liquid, but combined with the reflux health, the melatonin has been shown in studies to actually a protective barrier along the upper GI tract as well, upper GI tract, but
Yeah.
also to the lower esophageal sphincter, and teaching itself to tighten and shut again. So fascinating stuff with melatonin. It's not
That
just about
right.
sleep,
That lower esophageal sphincter is where the esophagus and the stomach meet.
right?
And then right there at that junction is where the problem happens, where that kickback happens, right? And goes up the throat
Totally.
and you feel it.
And so people are really disrupted with their sleep. A lot of people that are diagnosed with GERD also most likely will be diagnosed with osteoporosis, because those nutrients aren't being able to be properly obtained, because the stomach acid is going up too much, digestion is not happening, and it leads to low calcium, iron, B12, magnesium. And so
Hmm.
brittle bones, the bone density is not able to be really fulfilled because the nutrient density is not there. It's fascinating to me. It's
It's all connected.
also connected.
So again, that's can you hold that one up to the
Yeah,
camera again there,
reflux
Stacy?
health,
So Reflux Health
just
through
that.
Emerald Labs,
Acid reflux, just that.
the additive free company.
Mhm.
Why is it called that?
Because we don't have any additives whatsoever. If the consumer wants to go ahead and read the label facts on the back, all they're going to see on the other ingredient is just going to be
The capsule.
the capsule. And additionally, this vegetable capsule is a project verified non-GMO pine bark capsule. So it's the cellulose, it's just the cellulose from pine bark, and it's clean pine bark.
Amazing. And there's only 3 ingredients in there as
Yeah,
as the main healers: the
yeah.
mucosave, the DGL, which is the glycerized licorice extract, and then the last one was what?
Aloe vera
Aloe
extract.
vera extract.
So those
Okay,
are going to be
so
in a lot of like gut formulas for people as well, like the leaky gut formula that we have now,
right.
DGL and the deglycerized licorice and the aloe vera extract is very
So yeah,
common.
real quick, I because we've been dealing with this clinically. We do a lot of gastrointestinal health here at
Mm,
Healthy Habit Clinic.
yeah.
And GERD, it's not just burning up the throat. That's one symptom, but not everyone
Mm,
gets that yet. You might just feel a little discomfort there at the sternum. It just
mm,
feels full and not comfortable, or you're
mm,
coughing a lot at night when you lay
mhm,
down.
mhm,
Backwash, regurgitation of food, or
mhm.
it's like sour liquid that you notice, or even just trouble swallowing, which is the dysphagia. You might feel like there's just a lump in the throat too. These are all
It
symptoms of
really
GERD.
affects their sleep too. So a lot of people
Yeah.
don't get
Oh
proper
yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, they have to sleep sitting up.
Yet they have to sleep sitting up, and also
Mm-hmm.
they don't really get into a deep REM because that acid will wake them up in the middle of their sleep from the burning like you're talking about. And very, very uncomfortable. They'll wake themselves up burping.
Yeah.
A lot of things you'll find out too is they will wake up and have to vomit in the middle of the night.
Yep.
So red wine was another one, another trigger too. I was trying to think about these triggers of alcohol, red wine, caffeine. So those are
Yeah, those
the
are the big
liquid,
ones. Yeah.
citrus, lemonades,
But
things
you
like
know what's
that.
another one is people that have had their gallbladder taken out, which is a really
Excellent.
common procedure. And then so they don't, now that bile, they don't change their diet after that, after the
They do
surgery.
not,
They keep
right?
eating the same thing that led them to getting the gallstones in the first place.
A
And then
lot
all
of
that
people,
bile backs up into the stomach. That's another hidden cause. So
and
if
it
you've,
will,
yeah,
and also they, like you said, the lifestyle choices don't change. And this, a lot of people too with the gastric bypass too, the lifestyle doesn't change.
right, there you go.
And so,
Imagine that. That's crazy. If you had this
yeah,
procedure and don't change anything after.
right, right.
Unbelievable. Anyway, so that was the Reflux Health product.
Yeah,
Next
I
up
mean, it's
on the list
unbelievable.
in
It's
our,
and it's
yeah,
very, price point wise, clean, additive free, gluten free, non-GMO ingredients. Dr. Stengler is a naturopathic medical doctor who's formulated these ingredients. Um, so overall, instead of reaching for omeprazole or Pepcid or Prilosec or famotidine, they also, I don't know if you have understood this or have researched any of this about the amount of cognitive decline syndrome that's starting to occur with the over amount of these proton pump inhibitors
yeah,
that people are taking. And I mean, omeprazole, I don't think you're even supposed to take for longer than 2 months. I mean, these are really very, we want our stomach acid. You know,
yeah,
there's things that people can do
yeah.
to
It's, yeah.
really address
Or
this. It's like,
drinking too much alkaline water is a similar idea where it puts out the fire almost. You're literally like a
well, the
fire
alkaline
extinguisher to
is
the
very
acid.
important, right? Overall,
Yeah.
alkaline, especially if people, then if people want to understand that right away, just what you said, when you feel the burning, that's acidic. And acidity breeds disease, right?
Mm,
And so a lot of diseases cannot live in an alkaline environment. And
mm,
so alkalinity is really what we want. And
yeah.
especially if people are having like big issues with the reflux too, I would always encourage them too to take the little pH strips
Okay.
and monitor themselves too, right? And kind of
What
get
what I
big,
meant what I meant was, so you said our stomach's very acidic, right? The acid.
right?
We want that, but then people put that out. They drink too much of the alkaline water,
Yes,
and it makes the stomach acid too alkaline, and it's not as strong. In the Chinese medicine, they call it the fire, the stomach
the
fire.
stomach fire.
It
And
gets
so I
weaker.
think this is where people get into a lot of trouble with distilled water, right? And reverse osmosis water, correct?
Mm. No, or like the alkaline. You know, people are buying now like
It's
pH 9
9.0
9.8.
water.
Yeah. Like you can buy alkaline water now, not even RO and distilled. Those aren't
Ooh,
alkaline. Like
okay.
there's like
Oh,
companies producing alkalized water, like pH
I
9.0
see it
and
on
above.
the bottles all the
Yes,
time.
those types of waters. People are drinking a lot of those because they're trying to
Really?
alkalize their body,
Yeah,
but then it throws their digestive system off like crazy, but they don't even think it's from the water because now that stomach acid's way too alkaline.
right, right.
So yeah,
Oh,
that's
gosh. I had not even ever even considered that. So
think
you,
about that one. Yeah, I see a lot of people, they come to present to us and they have GI issues,
yeah.
gut issues, and I ask them, "Are you drinking alkaline water?" Every time they say yes, every time.
Oh my gosh.
And they're having bloating and all these GI issues and discomfort, and the bloating and gas especially. Feel like they're not digesting their food very well, and they're drinking that alkaline water every day, very high
Right,
pH.
right.
So anyways, I just wanted to mention that.
No, I think that
Something,
that's fascinating to me. I just learned something new, which is great.
think
Just
about that. So now imagine that you're alkalizing that acid right in the stomach. It's supposed to
yeah,
be acidic.
right, right. We want it.
That's absolutely. So then how would the reflux health product be different from just the digestive health product
Well, all right.
from Emerald?
Kind of a big difference, right? So I would say this digestive health product is basically just for that. For I think anybody can really take this because of the fact of It's just a raw broad plant spectrum of digestive enzymes. But what makes
Okay.
it a little bit unique are a couple of things. One, it's got 250 units of the proteolytic enzyme DPP4. So one thing that's kind of fascinating is DPP4 is usually pretty low in people with like celiac disease,
Hmm.
spectrum disorder. Okay, they usually have even an overgrowth, right, of bacteria of the bad guys' gut health.
Yeah.
So this also has gentian root, ginger, and fennel in there. So that's soluble fiber, but also those are digestives. So this could be for everybody, all right, especially though for somebody that's kind of suffering from gluten, um, legumes or whey, albumin. And I even think it says it on the front. Okay, it does say gluten, dairy, and beans plus. So
Okay.
that's just everything that I was just saying, legumes. So this is overall, and it says even on the front for the consumer that it's got the 250 units of the DPP4, which is a gluten digesting enzyme, but it
Okay.
does much more than that. Like I said, the
Mm.
legumes, the whey, the albumin. So this guy overall, just instead of just going with the broad plant spectrum of the enzymes, is added with the soluble fiber, the digestives, and the 250 units of the VPP4. So
Mm-hmm.
proteolytic, it's kind of just eating away and keeping things at bay, especially if people are having issues with gluten, etc. Because they have issues with digestion overall. This would be a good guy to start with.
That's the digestive health formula, different from the reflux health formula, which had the DGL, the aloe, and the mucosave. This one is the DPP4 enzyme. So you're saying a lot of people with the celiacs and just different other, if they eat the wrong foods, too much of the wrong foods that aren't prepared properly, they don't have enough of that enzyme to function, to break the
Right,
food down.
or they're low level, they're low producers of it.
Okay.
Actually, because we do produce it. So this is a patented ingredient, this DPP4. And I think people, should note that a lot of these formulas are using patented registered trademark ingredients for them to really amend, prevent, or ameliorate whatever they're facing. But they're science backed. And so that's one thing that the consumers need, or your listeners really need to take into effect. A superior ingredient that's science backed, it's going to do what it says it's going to do, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. What are some warning signs that you might need that when you eat beans and the dairy, especially, and the wrong
So
kind of bread?
flatulence, burping, uncomfortableness. These guys might be able to be taken kind of around the same time, but they are approaching different things. But before your meal, if you're just uncomfortable, like you said in the beginning, if you're just uncomfortable after you eat, either figure out change that kind of diet to see if you can get more comfortable with the foods you eat, or also make sure that you have a digestive enzyme. Also, digestive enzymes wane with age, right? So
Yeah.
they start to lessen, and so we have not as proper digestion. And then if we're making these lifestyle choices of fast food versus a fresh salad bar, you're going to have different
Right.
ways of digestion. I think we all know when we eat something that is not properly digesting,
Yeah.
it's just, not a very comfortable experience.
To round it out, we have like a triple pronged approach when it comes to GI health and Emerald Labs. We have the leaky gut health product as well. So
Oh,
explain this concept of the leaky gut. Is that like I have
powder.
my ideas of what it is. I want to hear your perspective on
Oh
leaky
my
gut.
gosh. Okay, so again, so I have the MTHFR genetic variant, so the gut health has always been an issue. Um, so this is why I talk so fantastically about these products, because I am my own guinea pig.
Right.
This
This one's a
is
powder.
powder. I think it tastes absolutely delicious, and it's either the marshmallow or the slippery elm. It's herby to me. I think it's only 5 milliliters. It's one scoop is 3 grams. The tiny little scoop. So this guy, what makes it unique from some of the other competitors is the addition of quercetin in here. So it's got the obvious ones, the amino acid glutamine. It's got the deglycerized licorice we talked about earlier that's in the reflux health, as well as the aloe vera extract that's in the reflux health. So we're looking at healing and soothing. And then we've got slippery elm, marshmallow, and then the quercetin, which is the patented ingredient of quercetin in a phytosome technology. So quercetin is poorly absorbed by the human body, animal body. And so what this company did in Dina is they've taken the quercetin, standardized and just really concentrated it, and they put it in a phytosome technology, which is just basically a fat bubble.
Mm.
So I believe this one is a sunflower lecithin bubble. So quercetin's inside the sunflower lecithin bubble. So therefore the clinical study showed that it merges into the cell at a much more bioavailable rate, and it stays around much longer. So what we're looking at here, obviously quercetin, and not obviously the consumers, if people don't know, it's comprised of 2 flavonoids, but quercetin is a potent antioxidant. It's very good for one of the flavonoids is rutin, and we've always promoted rutin for elasticity, capillary elasticity, capillary strength, and resistance. And 20 years ago, we were always promoting it for hemorrhoids, right? And so you think about that kind of elasticity, and that's what we also want in like our lungs. So quercetin came out. It was a great study for lung health during the end of the pandemic. But in this case, what we're looking at the quercetin is we're looking as an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, but also keeping things more viable along the wall of the intestine. And leaky gut is just that. It is basically your little walls that are tight, and I like to call it a little castle, and you have a moat around it. And so you've got your soldiers protecting it, but as soldiers come, the bad guys come, it starts to weaken the area. And so what happens is the walls start to, it's permeability of the intestinal wall is basically what it is. But if you think about it as it starts to weaken and they can't protect anymore, and so then this is when we get pharmaceuticals, toxins, whatever's going through our bloodstream or whatever's coming into the gut is then eventually, perhaps unfortunately, going to go through the bloodstream once it gets past the castle, the moat,
Right.
what I like to call. Does that make sense?
No, this is definitely a unique way of using quercetin. It hasn't been on my radar. And really, no one discusses quercetin being used for the gut health. So that's a unique way
It is this huge
of
selling
using
point.
it.
Also, 2 months supply versus the competitor's 1 month supply. I think this is like maybe just $3 or $4 more. But I'm telling you, on the 3 weeks that I've been taking this, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell a difference with just overall gut health, where I would think that it also really helps with the digestion, and I also think it's really helping with the reflux. So I haven't had to take reflux health for months now.
Got it. That one may be
Or weeks.
really, when you actually feel that burning going up the esophagus and the discomfort, and then you pull out the reflux health. Maybe it's not a everyday one, right?
Right. Knowing your triggers too, like what are you doing? If you know you're going to have a problem when you go to sleep after 2 glasses of red wine, you may want to carry the reflux health with you. You know what I mean? If you know that, if you're going to have pizza or, spaghetti sauce,
Right.
then there it is right there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're not listening
one.
to us on YouTube, I pulled it up here on store.emeraldlabs.com. You can head over there right now, emeraldlabs.com, and
That's even cheaper.
Search the Leaky Gut Health product. You can get it there, or if you're in Phoenix, come visit the store. We have the best prices in town. That's confirmed. That's a fact. Leaky Gut Health, doctor formulated Emerald Labs product. You get a 2-month supply here for $40.46. Save $5, basically $4.50.
Basically, yeah. Then what's on the shelf?
This is an awesome formula. You have the L-glutamine in there as the most. How come that's the number one? You chose to have 4 times the amount of glutamine compared to.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So that glutamine at 2,000, the others you're going to see 5,000 and 6,000.
Yeah.
A lot of times what we found is that can lead to a lot of flatulence and bloating and just uncomfortableness at that big of a dose. So somebody can take this twice a day if necessary. I haven't needed to take this twice a day, but that glutamine is really like, think about it, intestinal fuel, an amino acid, intestinal fuel.
Yeah. And that's not bad for other ingredients, by the way.
No,
None.
No, the quercetin, so that's the support japonica. Yep. Aloe vera, so it's a 200-to-1, that extract. This is a great, and I think it tastes delicious. I was even taking it into stores with me, into dinner trainings, and having people, I was mixing it up, having people try it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And if you look here, the DGL is in here as well with the aloe vera, just like you find in the Reflux Health formula.
Right. And that just protects against damage.
Yeah.
Right. It's really protective, healing. People just think about healing and soothing, protecting against damage. Slippery elm soothes and coats as well too. This is a great formula. And then
Amazing.
completely additive free too. People need to understand that. And then price
Yeah.
advantageous.
That's a big deal. I mean, you chose to put that in your guys' slogan. Obviously, that's a big, huge selling point. You know, Emerald
Yeah,
Labs, the additive-free company. So
the
you're
additive free
not
company,
putting
that's
all
right.
kinds of fillers in there and different preservatives and different
Just
coloring agents and
getting
all this stuff.
straight ingredients.
The last 30 seconds here. What's a good take home? This was a good gut health episode. A lot of people present to our clinic and store for gut health issues. It's one of the top issues in America, I would say,
I
digestive
agree.
disorders under that umbrella.
Especially when
What's
we're seeing,
Give us a little take home here, Stacy, for
huge
episode
impact of
42.
Prilosec and Pepsid. So a good take home would be trying to prevent proton pump inhibitors, bromatidine, omeprazole, Prilosec or Pepsid, and looking at um, healthy habits, your natural health food store near you. Go online and research. You can find the Emerald Labs products pretty much so anywhere where you are, and really do your research of how you can take away something natural to get rid of whatever's going on with you, the
Yeah,
indicators, and try to do something natural instead of less work for your liver. All those pharmaceuticals and over the counters, they're not so great for the liver, and the liver already goes through so much. It's already so overworked and underpaid.
very well. Perfect place to end it there. So
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much, Stacy,
Thank
for
you
coming
again.
on and taking the time. We'll see you at the next one.